You are holding something in your hand right now. It could be a phone, maybe a cup, whatever. You might not even be holding anything. But somewhere near you, in your pocket, bag, your account, is money. You have never questioned it. You have never wondered why a piece of paper with a number printed on it can be exchanged for food, shelter, clothing, security. Or asked why a stranger you have never met will hand you something real in exchange for something that is, if you think about it carefully, completely imaginary. Because money is not real. It never was. And the most disturbing part is not that money is imaginary, because it started as something else entirely, something very small that you can hold in your palm, something that began as decoration. It was so simple and ordinary that the person who first used it had absolutely no idea what they were starting. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how that object became the system that runs the entire world we live in. And you will never look at money the same way again. But first you need to understand the problem it was solving. Because before money existed, the world had a problem. It was a human problem, but it was so frustrating and limiting that it was quietly strangling civilization before civilization even had a name. You spent 3 days making this clay pot. Good work. Smooth sides, no cracks. It will definitely hold water for years without leakage. And your neighbor likes the pot. He wants the pot, but he also has a chicken, and you want it too. So you trade. Simple, clean, no system needed. But now your village is growing. More people, more needs, more things being made and built. One morning you wake up hungry and carry your pot to the grain farmer, and he looks at it and says, "I already have 3 pots." This problem has a name, and it's called the double coincidence of wants. For a trade to happen, both people need to want exactly what the other person has at exactly the same moment. In a village of 20 people, this is frustrating, but manageable. In a city of 10,000 people, this is impossible. And more cities are coming. Something has to change. The question is, what? The answer did not come from a king, not from a philosopher, or anyone trying to solve an economic problem. It came from a beach. And from the same instinct that has been running inside you since long before cities existed, the need to be seen. If you have been following this series, if you watched how humans accidentally invented fashion, you already know what the shell did to your brain. And if you haven't seen it, you can check out the link in the description box. 75,000 years ago, you picked up a Nassarius shell on the coast of South Africa and put it on your body, not for warmth, not for protection, but because something inside you said, "I want to be noticed." That instinct created fashion, but it also created something else, something nobody planned, something that would eventually become the most powerful system ever built. Because here is what happens when everyone around you wants the same object. That object can get you anything. You do not need the farmer to want your pot anymore. You give him shells. He gives you grain. Because he knows that with shells, he can get whatever he needs from anyone else in the village. The shell has just solved the double coincidence of wants. Not because anyone designed it, not because a king declared it valuable, but because your need to be beautiful and rare accidentally created demand, and demand is all money has ever needed. For a while this works beautifully. Your shells travel trade routes stretching thousands of miles. Archaeological sites across North America, Africa, Asia, Europe all show the same thing. Shells from coastlines hundreds of miles away, buried in inland graves, sitting in the hands of people who never saw the ocean. Trade is expanding. Cities are becoming possible. And then you walk along a beach and pick up 1,000 shells just in one afternoon. One person, one afternoon, 1,000 shells. You have just discovered the flaw that will bring the whole system down. Because if you can collect shells in abundance, then shells mean nothing. The entire system you built rests on one property that you just destroyed. Scarcity. So the search begins. Cattle get sick, grain rots, cloth wears thin, salt melts away, nothing lasts long enough to be trusted. You need something that everyone wants but no one can fake. Something that stays exactly what it is, this year, next year, 100 years from now. Something no beach will ever give up by the thousand. You have searched the surface of the earth. Nothing works. So you go underground. And down there in the dark, sitting in riverbeds and rock formations, untouched for millions of years, is something that has been waiting for exactly this problem. You are standing in a river, ancient Lydia, modern-day Turkey, around 600 BC. There at the bottom, catching the light in a way nothing else does, is a small heavy lump of electrum, a natural mixture of gold and silver that the rivers of this region wash down from the mountains. You pick it up, heavy for its size. You press your thumbnail into it, and it gives slightly, soft enough to shape, hard enough to hold its form. It does not rust, does not rot. It simply does not change, no matter how long it sits in the dark. You can melt it, divide it, reshape it, without losing any of its value. You can carry a fortune in a small pouch on your belt. And it is rare enough that no one can simply collect 1,000 of them on a good afternoon. And then the king, a man named Aliates, makes a decision that will echo for 3,000 years. He stamps his royal emblem onto your lump of electrum, a roaring lion, not to decorate it, but to guarantee it. The stamp means this piece has been weighed and tested and certified by the authority of the king himself. You do not need to test it. You do not need to weigh it. You just need to trust the mark. And with that stamp, something extraordinary is born that nobody planned. Your ability to trust a complete stranger. Before this coin, you could only trade with people you knew, people whose reputation you understood, people you could verify face to face. With a coin stamped by a king, you can trade with someone you have never met and will never meet again, because you are not trusting them. You are trusting the institution behind the lion on the metal. Money has just become something completely new. It is no longer an object with value. It is a promise with value. And that shift, from object to promise, is about to take you somewhere no one expected. Somewhere that will make the coin look like the very beginning of a much stranger story. The coin solved your scarcity problem, but it created a new one immediately. Wait. Fast forward more than 1,000 years. You are a merchant now, traveling between cities with enough gold to buy a shipload of grain. You are carrying a fortune in metal on your back. Heavy, obvious, dangerous. Every thief on the road knows exactly what you are carrying. And so you do something that will quietly reshape the entire world. Merchants in China figure it out first, around 1,000 years after that first Lydian coin. Then institutions across the world arrive at the same answer. You deposit your coins with a trusted institution. They give you a piece of paper, a receipt, proof that your coins exist and are being held safely somewhere else. You take the paper to another city. The person receiving it does not need to see your coins. They trust the institution that issued your paper. Paper money is born, not as a design, not as a plan, as your receipt that turned out to be more convenient than the thing it represented. And then, quietly, almost accidentally, something even stranger happens. The institution holding your coins begins to notice something. Most of the time your coins just sit there. People bring paper in and out, but almost nobody comes to collect their actual gold at the same time. Which means the institution can issue more paper than it has gold. As long as not everyone asks for their gold back at the same time, which almost never happens, the system works. Your money has just become something that does not fully exist. The paper promises gold that is not entirely there. And if that lands for you, if something about the entire global financial system resting on the collective decision of billions of people not to look too closely at the same time makes you feel slightly unsteady, then you are exactly who this channel was made for. There is a lot more where this came from. Because that paper, that receipt for gold that was not entirely there, is still in your pocket right now, just in a different form. You are no longer in ancient Lydia, no longer in a merchant's warehouse. no longer on a beach collecting shells. You are back in the room you started in. The note in your pocket, the card in your wallet, the number on your screen. In 1971, the United States officially disconnected the dollar from gold entirely. Your paper no longer represented anything physical. No gold waiting somewhere, no metal, no object with weight and substance and history. Just the number itself, which means the money in your account right now is backed by exactly one thing: the collective agreement of billions of human beings that the number means something, that the institution behind it will not collapse, that tomorrow it will still buy what it buys today. Your money is the largest shared fiction in human history. Not a lie, not a fraud, a story. A story that works because you and everyone around you agree to believe it. And you have agreed to believe some version of it. From shell, to coin, to paper, to number, for thousands of years. None of it was designed. Every single part of it was an accident. Your barter could not scale. Your shells could be collected in abundance. Your metal was heavy. Your paper needed to be trusted. Your institutions needed backing. Your governments removed the backing. And somewhere in that chain of accidents, you built the most powerful system ever created for moving trust between strangers. The next time money feels abstract, the next time the number on your screen feels meaningless, remember the shell. Remember the moment you picked it up on that beach. Not to buy anything. Not to solve any economic problem, but simply because it was beautiful. You had no idea what you were starting, but here you are. And the system you accidentally built is still running the world.